Hello, everybody, and welcome to our playthrough of Layton Curious Village HD for mobile. So you're probably wondering, why are we doing this again? Well, if you go back to the original playthrough, it becomes very apparent that our playthrough hasn't exactly aged well.
Allow me to give some context. Back then, we were using SVR, a recorder that literally records the audio of stuff I watch on YouTube, which meant that it was a nightmare having to line up that audio exactly with the video, lest the sounds of the video would be out of time. Not only that, we used Skype, and the audio connections were not as great here and there.
Discord didn't exist back then, Deji.
I know, I'm just saying. Who the hell still uses Skype? It's either Discord or Zoom.
Even current people use Zoom instead of Skype. But go on, Jova.
But yeah, essentially, also what changed was the voice cast back then. You may recall how I still voice Luke, but Pedro voiced Layton. This was to be a reflection of how I portrayed Phoenix and Pedro played Maya back in the day. And now even that's changed with Shiroi voicing Maya. Imagine that, a girl portraying a girl. But you know what? It's all due to cast evolutions here and there.
Stealing my jokes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just say this. You need to copyright them, son. Anyway, though, this is one of many, many, many Squirm replays that have been popping up here and there. Us polishing up and giving proper commentaries to stuff where we're more professional and we have better jokes. Also, just better quality in general.
Also, technical information before we start, just so we can get these quickly out of the way. We're applying this redoing treatment only to Curious Village. Both Pandora/Diabolical Box and Unwound /Lost Future are perfectly still fine as they are. Even if I didn't start, like, say, in the second game, I'm perfectly fine still the way they are, because that's where the formula got perfected, essentially, you know. And if you're still one of the people who have been for a long time after Miracle Mask asking where the hell have been the crossover and as well Legacy, they will come eventually, and we will explain to you, why they took so long at that time. For the time being, this is basically just a minor treat that is both for us and, to add under our belt and, for also the audience sake.
And considering, one more thing.
There's one more difference I must also mention. My good old friend Dejimon is here.
Yes, but since we all have already seen this game and we know what's going to happen, I figured I could invite Deji to come along. I invited him a couple of days ago. So that way we can have a newcomer so we can still have the newcomer perspective even on this playthrough. And
I'll probably download the Layton game so just I can understand ahead.
Yeah, this is literally the first game ever made, so it's as good of an introduction as possible. So
Des, first I introduced you to Ace Attorney. Now it's time to see the counterpart to that.
You didn't introduce me to Ace Attorney. That wasn't you.
All right. With that way, we can actually start.
All right.
Oh, and guess what? I also did.
Oh no!
What is it, Layton?
Oh,
I decided to copy Zack Snyder's example and film new stuff for this newly remastered edition of something.
So guys, what do you think of
the new title screen?
Yeah, what do you guys think of Nagano's new art for the title screen?
I just love to imagine that Layton and Luke literally had to freeze frame pose for that opening.
But yeah,
I hurt. What happened was I hurt my back, and you just took the picture there because you're assholes.
Being for mobile systems, it means that the graphics doesn't have any more the jagged, border that was in the DS version, and the music is actually more uncompressed.
Yeah, so Level 5 went back to their archives and brought in all the original assets as they were made before they were compressed onto the DS. Back in the day.
Pretty neat stuff, I have to say.
It is kind of a shame that they didn't give this treatment to the other two, and by that I mean they just polished up the other two. No, hold on, let me finish. What I mean is that they did polish up the other two, but they didn't add in new content like with this one.
I would argue only this one really needed it, to be honest. I think the other two games are fine as they are, to be honest with you.
Quick question though: is Layton still ongoing, or is it just?
Recently, the creator of the series said that the next game most likely will adapt the plot of the anime, specifically the Professor Layton subplot of the anime, basically.
When did he say that?
On a Famitsu interview, Jova.
No. I asked when.
2 years ago.
Hold on, let me tilt my head. Oh, never mind.
There we
There
go.
we go.
I was just showcasing that this game is using the Layton's Mystery Journey engine. But yeah, here's the new opening scene.
Yeah.
This came out of my salary.
Jesus, Luke, this is a bit too much.
So many things to carry, Professor.
Oh no, Luke, this is only the first step. We've got 2 more journeys to go.
Jesus, you're gonna give Johnny Cage a run for his money.
Come on, Luke, hurry up.
Hold on, Professor, I can't forget your teddy bear.
Yeah, I have to say, the voice actress for Luke actually still got it too.
And so does Chris.
Yeah, basically, it's like the old days. They had Lanny Mandela do the voice for Luke in the American one, and Maria Darling for the British one.
Yeah, Richard.
Thankfully, we're using the British one.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
Richard decided to stay consistent with how things were, just to make sure everybody's satisfied.
Perfectly fine by me.
Boo.
I like to imagine that they literally said, "Hey, Chris, can you come back to voice these 2 scenes?" Okay, thanks.
Oh my
bye.
god, the thing.
Luke, what are you saying? I can't hear
The
you.
King's Bridge is actually the painted sign, like the time I used when I went to London. Jesus.
Oh, by the way, Luke, do you remember that?
And now, Lonnie Manella's
no.
return as US Luke.
The only kind of two.
And by the way, Lonnie's really getting old and she can't really do this voice anymore.
Okay,
Oh my
let me
God.
listen.
That's everything packed. Is that all you're bringing with you?
Lonnie, I love you, honey, but you need to stop voicing children.
Yeah,
You're too old. You're too old by this point.
She was great as the narrator of a medieval remake, perfectly serviceable for that role. But this is
Remember,
just
guys.
no.
It's not even just, that's the thing. Here's the thing too. It's not even just U.S. Luke this time. Even her Flora voice, which was perfectly fine back in 2008 and 9. Even her Flora voice doesn't really. She can't really reach that high pitch anymore. And don't get me wrong, Lana Manal at this point is nearly in her 70s. So I understand. Of course, it's not really easy for her to reach that high pitch again. Don't worry, this is not important.
The hilarity to my dear friend Pedro at the beginning. Are you gonna shoot people, Pedro?
Yes.
Now here's one thing. Here's where you can tell these are the original cutscenes. Though polished up, they have a different art style than the newer cutscenes, especially since the trees have that Winnie the Pooh painted on look.
Yes. This was before Nagano perfected his art style.
You see what happened?
Oh, it's a
was
letter
I
for
was in-
Smasher.
Yeah, what happened was I was in huge, heavy conflict with the original art designer.
Why are we going to help solve an inheritance?
Also, note here, we can't have him in Smash because he'll just be another sword fighter.
Gotta be honest.
So I was thoroughly displeased with whoever the hack was that played me in the first playthrough, so I decided to take over and do it myself.
I still stand on my point that if a level 5 representative has to show up in Smash, it has to be at least Jivanian or at least a yokai. It's much more fitting.
I don't know. I can see Layton happening. Layton with a sword can work fine enough for me personally.
Yeah,
Just put Phoenix
honestly,
Wright and Layton there so we can have a proper Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright game. What?
Hold on,
That
Dej.
would be cool.
Okay, in case you don't know, Dej, the entire crux of this story is about, like you said, an inheritance dispute, which is a very common type of storytelling for mystery novels like Agatha Christie.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the story behind the making of this game?
Well, I'll tell
it or not.
I'll tell you in a moment, Joe. Let's just let Deji enjoy the cutscene at least.
But if we can hear the professor.
Yeah, I was saying I can read. Don't worry, I'm a big boy.
You're a big boy.
I will admit, it is weird that they didn't clean up the sound mixing.
That's the thing, Joe. That's the thing, Joe. But that's the quality of the recording. Because if you even go back to the original DS version, for some reason, Christopher's recordings are lower quality than Maria's, and I don't really get why.
I can actually hear that.
I don't really get why. I guess.
So who's recording this by any chance?
Me.
Hey, you're using an emulator, I assume.
Actually, no. I'm using my Android device, my NVIDIA Shield. It's running on an Android, so yeah, it's running natively.
Alright.
And those things connect to Elgato's, right?
Yes.
What is this golden apple anyhow?
Well, Android
You imbecile!
well, there are plenty of cables you can buy to connect your Android devices to TVs and, by extension, anything that has an HDMI port, Jova. So
Oh, yeah, like the good old
Next you'll be
Ouya.
asking me what a seatbelt is.
I'm sorry, Professor, I can't hear you over the driving of this car.
Is that your famous intuition?
Also, considering the road is technically not properly, coated with tar, I get the idea, but it's a bit of a bumpy ride.
That's okay. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, Pedro, but I recall in the original DS recording that the sound mixing actually sounded better.
That's because, Jova, we're hearing the sound effect of the car completely uncompressed. And that sound effect is much higher quality than Christopher's recordings.
No,
That's the thing.
I'm not a detective. I am a highly trained Shakespearean actor who's slumming it in.
Oh crap, Dahlia, turn around!
Fortunately,
Because someone forgot to press record or something.
I don't really get what happened in Nintendo of Europe when this thing was originally localized. I don't get why Christopher's mic is so lower quality compared to everybody else. Fortunately, this is only a problem in this opening cutscene. The animated cutscenes are fine.
Yeah, the rest are okay.
Say so, Professor.
I don't get why. Again, this is a problem that dates all the way back to the original. It just wasn't noticeable in the original because in the original everything was muffled to begin with. So.
Okay. All right, fellow people in the Hollywood or entertainment industry. This is how you show somebody driving a car while delivering important dialogue. Actually looking at where they're going.
Yeah, eyes on the road.
Well, yeah, that's what Luke is there for, so he can do things while the
on the
professor
road,
focuses
yes.
on driving.
You know the situation is bad, ladies and gentlemen, when my small, beady, scary eyes are more focused on the road than typical Hollywood movies.
Alright, let me just explain.
Luke, we've already told people who I am. Why are you saying Professor Layton as if...
Alright, it's been a...
Because I need to point out for the audience.
Yeah, a warm-up as things to come. Okay, so, first puzzle. Where's the village? It's worth 10 picarats. Okay, my village is on a road that leads to no other village. I look forward to seeing you there. Draw a circle around the right village, then touch submit. So there you go. We have to find the village that specifically leads to no other village. So basically, it's take a look at the paths puzzle and see which village leads to nowhere based from its path. So there you go. This is a very simple puzzle, like so you can easily do. There you go. You can always press on the.
Game says it's a little warm up.
Exactly.
How long are these games anyway?
About 10 hours each.
Yeah, so they're shorter than Ace Attorney games.
It depends. That being said, Edgy, if you want to do all puzzles in the game, then it's much longer because there's a total of 365 puzzles you can download for free. When you put.
But no, it's not like there's a true ending, is there?
Oh no. The story is completely linear with only one ending. If that's what you're asking.
They were made. Remember that they were made for the DS era, where it was literally a pick up and go moment. So each puzzle is not super long, and you can interrupt at any moment. It's very fitting for the system.
Okay, here's how it goes, Dej. There are puzzles, yes. However, depending on how many puzzles you solve, you get picarats, and the more picarats you get, the more secrets that you unlock. In the first 3 games, it was generally like, some artwork or stuff you could get by hooking up to the internet back in the day. Yeah,
Of course, Luke.
You can unlock a sound test. You can also unlock a sound test and a theater mode.
However, in the
Luke, I just
newer
wanted to be a
trilogy,
dick to you.
you could actually get some extra cutscenes here and there, and believe it or not, some other scenes. So you could arguably
episodes.
get more story by doing
Well,
this here and there.
here's the thing, Jova. The episodes were only obtained by just progressing through the story, not by collecting picarats, actually.
I
So.
think Layton's actor's lines were probably recorded in a different booth to the
And
others.
that's exactly the thing, Shu. I don't get what happened back in 2008. I don't know what Nintendo did with
It's okay. The only thing I know about this game, and don't groan, is the ending with the plot twist.
Sure. Well, that's probably
Because if you're all familiar with Brain Scratch Comps,
Yes,
Ted just blurted out. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Here we go.
Interesting.
Well, Ted hates this franchise in general, so.
Yeah.
It appears that this drawbridge is the entrance to the village.
And we're stuck on the outside. What should we do, Professor?
Go back home, we're done here.
Okay. Oh, wait, look over there. There's a man standing on the other side of the river. Maybe he can help us.
All right.
Luke, I've told you not to talk to strangers.
All right, give me just a moment so I can, because it's been a few years, so I'm out of touch. Professor Layton and the Curious Village is a point-and-click adventure game with brain-teasing puzzles in it.
Dahlia! Damn it.
Not that Dahlia Jova. Alright, so the first mystery we have, the Golden Apple. The late Baron Reinhold hid this item in St. Mystere just before dying and has promised the whole of his fortune to the one who finds it. No one has any clue what the Golden Apple might be or where it is hidden.
I just told you it's an apple that's golden.
Wait,
All right.
hold on. But
So,
then
tomato.
Losing the name.
wouldn't that mean that the Templars are after it, Tio?
Good day, sir. We very much like to gain access to the village. Could you please drop the bridge for us?
Do I look like the sort to go dropping the bridge for a bunch of fancy-looking outsiders?
No, you look like a no. You look like a very rude man.
You got a lot of nerve.
We received a letter of invitation from Lady Dahlia Hawthorne.
Oh god, the Jezebel.
Understandable, come right in.
I don't
That changes things, does it?
from Lady Dahlia. Also, who's Lady? Also, our Dahlia is not called Hawthorne, so I think you got this place wrong. Back away. Well then, I'd love to lower the bridge for you, smarty pants, but the engine is broken and I can only move this blasted bridge with a hand crank. So...
Is there another way in then?
No.
Yes.
As you can see, the entire village is surrounded by a river, so it's a bit. It's all these infernal slots.
Swim to the other side.
There's all these infernal slots.
You think he'd
So-
be more concerned about this because he's stuck on the outside too.
So, Brainbox, you got any idea which one is the right one? Alright, so now we have to
It's
help.
your job, isn't
Yes,
it?
I do. It's the one your head will be going in if you don't fix it your bloody self.
But yeah, like I was saying, yeah, this is a point-and-click adventure game mixed with the brain-teasing puzzle genre games like Brain Age and Dr. Kawashiwa's Brain Training. To go into the history of the development, Deji, basically, Akihiro Hino, the president of Level 5 and creator of this series, grew up reading a certain magazine called Dr. Akira Tago's Mental Gymnastics. What was that? A book full of puzzles like these, basically. And he grew up loving them as a kid, and he's always wanted to make a video game that basically turned that magazine into a video game. Problem is, when they got around to getting the rights, he was able to get Akira Tago, the creator of those magazines, to come work in the game. But unfortunately, the company that owned those magazines wasn't willing to grant him the license. So he had to get creative. Okay, I'm going to create a story, a mystery story, since it's puzzles, and I'm going to use the puzzles as a framing device for the gameplay and your way to move through the story, basically.
This is my Akira Tago fanfiction with my OCs, so do not judge.
Yes.
Now, in regards to the character of Layton, he had several bouts of basis for this, one of which being Sherlock Holmes, as you can
Obviously.
Or
probably
Herlock
remember.
Sholmes, if you will.
I actually... Dibs, remind me.
Hopefully that gets announced by the time this gets uploaded.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Dibs, but the dynamic between the Professor and Luke is actually very similar to a lot of British shows. Because I can remember seeing a lot of British shows that have some kind of professor with a kid assistant, So,
What, Doctor Who?
But half the time the mentor character is a nub.
well, okay, but it is reminiscent of that, I'm assuming, right?
A little bit.
Wait, half the
because-
time
yeah.
the mentor character is who?
Your ability to
Annoying.
analyze your surroundings.
So,
Also, Sherlock Holmes did have a couple of children among the sidekicks that he would instruct for being helped for his task, if I recall correctly.
Okay,
like
remember,
his
Luke, when I
sister
say
at some
tap the
point.
shoe, I don't mean tap my shoe.
So,
But,
wait,
anyway.
Tia, are you also talking about Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century, or no?
Oh, I remember seeing that show, but I don't remember too much
Right,
about it.
that's-
Hold on.
What a dandy set of fellows you two are. Must be new to St. Mystere, eh?
Hey, Sasha and Scarfan. Basically, this is a recurring character that shows up in most of the series, basically.
The name's Stash and Scarvin, and I've got some advice for you.
And he's about to get meta on us as well.
Never fought a land war in Asia.
Tap that barrel back there.
Yeah. Basically, he's going to teach us about hint coins.
Don't ask questions, just do it.
Okay, fine. Alright, so let's...
that's not suspicious at all.
There you go, and we got a hint coin. What is a hint coin? Let's see.
The hint coin. Felt good, didn't it?
Actually, it just feels very strange.
The DS's
These
slogan.
parts, that's what we call a hint coin. When you find yourself against a really tough puzzle, you want a hint. Trust me on this one, fellows.
True.
Unless you're like me, who
And it's
prefers
just
to do
those
this
times when
without
you
the
want to
hint
use a hint
coins.
coin to purchase a hint.
Or I could use the
Because what else?
internet.
Because what else are you gonna buy it with? What's the internet? I bet you think puzzles will be a breeze now, eh?
Yeah,
Think
okay,
again.
that's a weird thing about the Layton universe. It technically does take place in modern times, but they appear to be old-fashioned. And we know it takes place in modern times thanks to the crossover.
There is
So,
a number of head coins in the village.
Maybe in the... Well, Joe...
Because we do, when you come across a real stumper, you'll be sorry.
unless they're just implying that all of Europe
Honestly,
is
Joe,
way
it's
behind.
very
Yeah,
easy to imagine.
I was about to say that.
And it's very easy to imagine as basically an alternate, reality where society evolved in a different way, where we think a bit similar to how Valkyria Chronicles handles things.
Yeah, ink coins won't
I
always
guess
be in
the-
barrels. Go ahead.
Wait, Valkyria Chronicles takes place in modern times or something like that?
No, I'll explain later, Edge.
More stash and scarf wisdom to share.
Oh, goody.
Investigate the side on that building over there.
This is actually new.
Everything.
This is actually new.
Wait a minute. Which side? There's like 2 of them.
There you go. A puzzle-solving charm. Ooh, a new thing that wasn't in the original game.
Eh?
Oh,
What's this?
what is this?
It looks like a Sailor Moon accessory.
The locket.
That's a puzzle solving charm he just found.
The game's about to get meta, and it's just...
Come on, we all know you're expecting something original from this remake.
Well, what's
Have you
going
got
on
that
here?
feeling of deja vu?
I remember, Luke, I rewrote it because I needed to make it more up to date. Gives the new version a certain charm, don't you think?
So yes,
Sure.
this is in fact a remake, believe
So
it
when
or
did you
not.
become self-aware?
Well, actually, Shiro, Sessions...
These charms are like fun, aren't you?
Well, Shiro,
always been self-aware.
Sessions Caravan is the tutorial character, Shiro, so he's always been self-aware. So that kind of
Pretty
fits.
much.
Yeah.
It's a curse, really.
You're expecting me to say something like that, weren't you?
How Jonas savvy, aren't you, Stashin?
Don't worry, I'm just pulling your leg this time. Charms are safe.
Ah, okay.
This one is anyway. How do you use charms? Well, now, that would be telling.
I'll
You're supposed to tell us.
I'll explain what
do
they do in a
not use
moment.
believe you me, but it's up to you to find it.
Basically, they allow you to unlock extra illustrations in the gallery and extra music tracks for you to listen from the other games, basically.
Let
So,
me guess,
until
you
we
win
meet again.
them. Let me guess, you also have to basically search them out, though.
Obviously. I mean, it's to give an extra incentive for exploration and pointing and clinking, you know.
So,
Also,
anyway,
Pedro's cursor is passing.
so
Jesus.
Did
Oh, that,
you may notice.
Go ahead.
So you may notice that, yes, what we essentially have is a puzzle-solving game that had to basically be its own IP because they couldn't get the rights for a certain puzzle series, mixed in with some influences from Sherlock Holmes and a little ditty called the Ace Attorney series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
Wait,
can
which
definitely-
puzzle series was it supposed to be based off of?
Akira Tagawa's Mental Gymnastics. It's a Japanese-only magazine. People outside of Japan don't really know it.
But enough
Now-
talk of trees. We should have over to meet Lady Dahlia now.
But yeah, essentially, Dej, when it comes to the influence of Ace Attorney, you can tell that it has a lot of stuff like the examinations here and there. It doesn't look like it's going to be open anytime soon.
Oh,
The
in
different
general-
character dynamics.
Oh,
as
hello.
well.
Pleasure to meet you. Welcome to Saint Myster, where our local export is the puzzle.
Does it
Which
taste
is why
good?
you're
How much
poor.
money do you make from those, I wonder?
Little
Oh,
to
before I
none.
forget, you should know that every time you solve a puzzle, you earn a set number of picker rats.
I don't want any rats.
The more picker rats a puzzle is worth, the tougher the puzzle will be. Makes sense?
Except that one time where... Oh.
They say lovely things happen when you gather enough picker rats, but I don't know anything about that. Imagine that, a reward for solving puzzles.
The best thing about it is that for the entire franchise, we don't even know how Picards look like. We're just an imaginary currency.
They're literally just a point
Yeah.
system, basically. Think good and hard before you answer. Basically, Deji, every time you fail at a puzzle, every time you roll strangely, you lose picker rats. Like, for example, if this puzzle is worth 10 picker rats. If I get my first try wrong, I lose 3 of those 10 picker rats, and unless I reload the save, of course.
There's always that weird irony when you do get a puzzle that's worth a ton of pick rats, but turns out to be easier than a puzzle that's worth just 10 pick rats.
It also depends on each person, Joe, because some people are better at certain types of puzzles than others. I'm good at math puzzles, but I'm assuming the Shirei and Dwiz probably are not that good at math puzzles.
Not really.
Also, it might be also tied to what the game itself considers, what they might think it's a type of. For example, if it's plot relevant, of course it's going to be worth more.
Another source of inspiration is actually old European cartoons, because as you can probably guess from the art style, Deji, Takusa Nagano, the art director, took a lot of inspiration from a lot of old European cartoons that had this. Like, for example, Tintin. Tintin also has beady eyes, for example. So the visuals are inspired by old European cartoons, basically.
It's also used this loss. It's a kind of a mutual thing, because in return, for example, stuff like some French cartoon was very inspired over the decades by anime itself. The more obvious example is Wakfu these days, obviously, but in general. So it's a sort of, again, like I said, a mutual symbiotic relationship.
Also, very quickly.
Bravo! Yes, Shira, go ahead.
If for those in the audience who haven't seen it already, since you didn't have them initially, look at the art, the Photoshop of Layton's daughter with the beady eyes.
Oh, God.
Oh,
yeah. However,
I'm going to check right now.
You'll also encounter lots of puzzles that can't be solved by simply trying all the answers. If you answer incorrectly, the pick rats you can earn from a puzzle decrease. Tough stuff,
Unless you save scum.
So basically get good.
Or save scum.
That too.
Then again, the save system is a bit weird, but we can talk about that. Actually, no.
Well, actually, no.
Remake.
It works exactly the same as the original. You can save at any point, just go to the menu, Joe. But you can always save at any moment, as long as you're not in the conversation. That being said, this remake also adds an auto-save system. So there's two slot saves, the manual saves and the auto-save. So even if you forget to save, every time you change screens, the game auto-saves. So you'll be fine.
I see fan art, but I don't see anything official.
Shouldn't we be keeping a record of our investigation?
Luke, we've already done this one. You brought up a very good point, Luke. Allow me to explain.
Let's skip this. We already know how this works.
Yes,
But,
Luke,
okay.
I've already told you this. We've already filmed this movie.
We talked about the consistency with the voice acting. One thing I wish this remake did, but I get the idea why they really didn't, was to actually use the type of, character portraits in terms of how the dialogues are visualized, kind of like the rest of the 2D DS games that have a more 45-degree angle instead of seeing Layton full front, in order to make a more something more akin to those, because this was a first experimental type of game. So of course we see this kind of fight, but later on it will be improved. So I was hoping they would have actually changed things, but I get the idea that it might have been a bit too much to work with, so we just stick to something safe.
Yes, I love how the design looks.
Chapter 1,
Here, you
Manor Whites. Make your way to Reinhold Manor on the east side of the village. Not yet, not quite yet. Yes, we know, Professor, we know. Alright. Okay, so that's the basic gist of this game. Alright,
Anyway, going back to what I was telling Dej here, but yeah, essentially, Dej, what you have here is a puzzle game based off of an old puzzle series with a Sherlock Holmes XP mixed in with inspirations from the Ace Attorney series. This is essentially Ace Attorney if you took out the court trial stuff and sort of expanded the investigation scenes into, puzzle-solving romps, essentially.
Oh, I love this puzzle. Go ahead.
Not only that,
clock tower looks rather worse for wear.
Not only that, but Akira Hino actually based the character of Layton off of Phoenix Wright. More on that later.
Speaking of clocks, I've got just the puzzle for you. Can I narrate this one? I want to narrate this one.
Oh, goody, yeah.
This is actually
first game.
This is one of my favorite puzzles.
A beginner's trap, actually.
The ordinary analog clock has two hands, with the longer hand moving faster around the face of the clock. Assuming that this clock keeps perfect time, how many times will the long and short hands pass over each other between 12 noon and 12 midnight?
So Deji, Deji, you want to try to take a guess at this?
Is it 12?
Well,
Or
I
is
don't know.
that the beginner's trap?
Okay, the tip from a Layton veteran, Deji. Don't immediately jump to a conclusion. Read the question very clearly so you can see exactly what the puzzle is asking.
The puzzles are specifically designed to catch you off guard no matter what you think. Sometimes it's a very stupid answer disguised as an overcomplicated stuff. Other times it's the exact opposite. So no matter what you think, trust me, you probably got it wrong.
As for why this is a beginner's trap,
23 or 24?
It's 20. It's 6. I knew it. What? No.
As for why this is a beginner's trap, Dej, this is only puzzle number 5, but this one is worth 50 picarats here and
Well, but this
there.
puzzle is... Well, remember, Jova, technically you only want to solve 75 puzzles of your choosing. You don't need to solve... You can skip this one if it's too hard.
Oh, no. My point is that it's a beginner's trap because, again, remember, if you get these wrong, you'll lose the value of picarats and you won't really get to retry them until much later when you get a chance to have a go at them again.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not going to be that much later, but yeah, I see your point. All right, so since it seems like nobody's taking a guess, I'll just answer.
Oh, well, I didn't think it would be fair for me to guess.
Honestly, I forgot about this.
Let's see if Deji's original answer is correct. Is the correct one? Actually, you know what? I retract my answer.
Oh.
Sorry, Dej. I'm gonna go with 10.
FL?
FL? What?
It looks like it said FL instead of end.
FLCL.
Alright, let's see. There you go.
I was so hoping you'd be wrong.
So let's see what the solution
Did the
is.
fucking Riddler make these?
That's right. The hands pass over each other 10 times. If you think about it, the answer is obvious, but you might have been tricked by the question. The hands pass over each other once an hour, but since they start and directly on top of each other, 2 of the 12 hours do not count as a pass. Because remember, they said when the hands pass through each other, you know, but the beginning and the end of the process don't actually count.
And it's an analog clock.
Yep, exactly.
Precisely the answer I was looking.
That's bullshit.
Well done, man.
Again, that's the thing with Dej. This factor alone, this constantly presented through each of the games where the puzzle is constructed, is ripe for potential for comedy gold moments. You can find both web comics online, like fan arts, for example, from Accord Zombie, or the actual YouTube channel of an actual voice actor, which in YouTube is called ProZD, who actually dubs over some of these that take a jab at these kind of situations.
I have a question though before we end.
What is it, Professor?
Why does my sprite look like my legs have been cut off and re-glued together?
It was the old days, Professor. Some things just age weirdly.
I mean, seriously, you couldn't have had me at full height. I look like my legs have been cut off, or I'm crouching down.
Hey, still better than what happened to your nose in Layton 5.
Well, it was better than having your whole face, Luke.
Alright, everybody. Tune in next time where we finally get to the manor.
See ya.
Yeah.
See ya.
Next time.